We're taking off. We'll have a busy week ahead. Of course, Kevin Hincks, co-host of Fast Market Live at the CBOE, is with me. He's been watching everything all weekend as well. And first, let's just start with the story, and that is the Iran, Israel, U.S. story. What's the very latest and the market considerations that we should have at this point?
Good morning, Nicole. Yeah, right now, the markets are waiting for some type of a response from Iran. Is it going to be military? Is it going to be cyber? Is it going to be what level of response? Or are we going to get a response? Are they so interested in saving their regime that they really can't respond? So they did send more missiles to Israel. They both exchanged missiles over the weekend since it, but we're waiting to see what will happen and the overall effects. Now, it's almost a unbelievable response from futures, that futures are higher and crude oil is basically unchanged this morning. It's looks like a typo. When you look at the markets, you would think there would be more disruption, but right now the markets are almost unbelievably calm, Nicole. Now, that can change at any minute, as you know, and we've got plenty of things to do that can move the markets this week. But so far, from the opening last night to today, the markets opened down, crude oil opened higher, like you mentioned, but a very muted response by futures, both in equities and crude oil. So, yeah, we sit and we wait and we look for a response, and so far, really not coming, Nicole.
Yeah, understood. I mean, obviously, we've had this going on now for some time, but it escalated over the weekend. And you do have Iran and Israel still exchanging. At this point now, oil, which did have a jump, went up above $78, almost to $79 for West Texas, the highest levels that we'd seen since January, but it has since retreated. I'm very interested to think about what happens with the Strait of Hormuz. I was looking for my number, but I remember last week Deutsche Bank did put out a number. I think it was like 120 billion or something. The cost that it would be if we were to see that closed. And that is obviously one of the big threats here now for this week ahead, right?
Last week when I spoke to you, we talked about two things, the Fordow plant and the Strait of Hormuz. Now, the Fordow came into play, right? It's one of the places that the U.S. bombed Saturday. Now, all eyes are on the Strait of Hormuz. Why? Because that's where a large fraction of crude oil moves from the Middle East to the rest of the world. So if there's no disruptions, I think the fact that there aren't any disruptions so far in the Strait of Hormuz is why the response in crude oil is relatively muted. Remember, China is involved. China gets a lot of their oil from Iran, and it comes through the Strait of Hormuz. So it's going to be interesting to see. But that's, in terms of crude oil, that's what you want to watch for. Any news coming out of disruptions in the Strait of Hormuz. So then you look at the rest of the headlines, right? Responses from all over, as you can see. But Iran was, Trump administration's coming out this morning and saying that Iran was extremely close to getting a nuclear bomb, and that's why the U.S. had to move. I think it was. What I read is that it was intelligence from Israel that got there. So all these things are coming into play despite all the other things we have going on in the market, like earnings and data and Jerome Powell speaking Tuesday and Wednesday, and a flow of Fed speakers this week. So I think there's a lot going on in this market, but still we remain, Nicole, in a headline-driven market.
Without a doubt. And we'll have obviously more on any Fed speakers. Of course, we saw the Fed leave rates unchanged. I'm following a lot of the stories. We had the Tesla launch. Dan Ives was out and he seemed impressed. His team was somewhat impressed here in the early stages of the robo-taxi. We'll have DoorDash, Exxon, Novo Nordisk dropping that deal with Hincks. There's a lot of headlines here. What grabs your attention most?
Well, I think the economic data, I think Friday, Christopher Waller made headlines with, leaning towards or starting to mention a July rate cut. I think that's important. Jerome Powell's testimony on Tuesday, Wednesday might give some color on how the Fed is thinking. Remember, the one thing that came out from the Fed meeting was a very polarized Fed. 7 people want no cuts, but I think it was 9 want 2 cuts this year. So, something that has to come together there. And I expect Jerome Powell to talk about that Tuesday and Wednesday. So we've got the headlines. We've got Jerome Powell. Thursday and Friday, we've got durable goods, GDP, jobless claims. Friday, we've got personal income and outlays. That's a big number. In about an hour, half hour, we'll get PMI flash. We'll get some numbers there on manufacturing and services. That'll be interesting today. And we'll get a lot of housing data coming out this week. Like I said, a lot of Fed speakers. I've got Michelle Bowman, Austin Goolsbee, Adriana Kugler talking throughout the day. A lot of Fed speakers. And then, of course, Jerome Powell Tuesday and Wednesday. Tomorrow in front of the House. I think Wednesday in front of the Senate. That'll be important. Earnings, FedEx, Micron, Nike. When I see those names, Nicole, it tells me that we're near the end of earnings season, near the end of the quarter. So them finishing up earnings there. And then we keep watching headlines. We keep watching news as this all plays out in real time, Nicole.
Yeah, and as we get in the latest on mortgages and home sales, let's see if we get some improvement, because it's really stalled lately, as you and I have been speaking about. So let's see if we start to see a little bit of improvement, and then it'll be followed by durable goods as well on Thursday. So there you have it. Kevin Hincks, great to see you on this Monday morning. Thank you so much.